And by the way, when your tracker or a guest gets eaten by a lion, it's not very good for business, if you know what I mean. Not a lot of repeat sales there, if you know what I'm saying. I had the privilege for the 6 or so years that I was based in the Kruger area as a game ranger, wildlife photographer, of working with one of the finest trackers of the big cats that I ever met in my whole life. His name was Enoch Ngwenya, and he and I became partners for about 5.5 years. And Enoch was a gem of a human being, a wonderful man. He didn't read or write, and he didn't speak any English. But he and I developed a very special working relationship, and he was an absolute genius. He could see things that I couldn't see. Stickinia was a small female, and she walked with a very slight limp. She walked with her back leg kind of straightened ever so slightly. And so my Shangaan colleagues called her stick in Yao. Yao is leg, stick in the leg. And the incredible thing about Stick in Yao, and why we loved her so much, was that as small as she was, she'd overcome both her size and her disability, and she was deadly. She was resilient, she was tough, and she was one of the most potent hunters I ever saw. And the other great thing about Stick in Yao was that she was very comfortable with us. She was very used to our vehicles. So this picture I took from me to where this lady's sitting right here. That's how close she allowed us to get. I had her come so close one time that she came round the back of my vehicle and she scent marked on my rear tire. And I had actually taken the door off my vehicle permanently because we used to do a lot of tracking. And so to be able to get in and out, my wife can't quite understand why I take the door off, but to be able to get in and out very quickly, I took the door off. And there was a roll bar running down the side of the vehicle. And I had my foot, my veldschoen, not this veldschoen, not this exact one, an older, smellier one, leather. Cats eat leather. And I had my veldschoen resting on that roll bar, and she scent marked on my rear tire, and I heard her, as I just looked over here, I just heard her tail going like this, against the side of the vehicle. And she came to where my foot was resting on the roll bar, and she sniffed my veldschoen. And I kept dead still, believe me. And she looked up at me like this, and she carried on walking. That's how close she allowed us to get. And that day, by the way, I made a miraculous discovery. You know what I discovered? I discovered the color of adrenaline. You know what color adrenaline is, right? It's brown. It's brown. Which is not very good when you're the ranger and you're supposed to be tough. And the air is dense with dust. And that beautiful smell, that sweet smell of the African rain that you know is coming. And we go out on game drive, and I'm guiding this very nice, very softly spoken French couple from Marseille. And we get very Enoch, my tracker, sitting on the bonnet, lifts his hand, and he says, "Nkonzo kalo Stickinia, the tracks of Stickinia the leopard." Now, how did he know that it's Stickinia, not some other female leopard? Well, because she dragged her leg that little bit, she also dragged a tiny little bit of dust. And he would have known anyway. So I say to him, "Ipiskati, when? From when are these tracks?" I'm asking him. Are they fresh or are they from yesterday? And he says, "Much. Now." He says, "Bam, go." So I'm slightly confused because we had a rule. The rule was you're not supposed to just drive off the road after tracks. But so I say to him, "We can't go." He doesn't even let me finish the sentence. He says, "Kona manji. She's here now. Famba." And he's forcing me to drive. So I drive off the road. And we drive over a mitre drain down towards a big donga. And he's following the tracks and he's guiding me. And as we get around, the donga takes a bend. As we get around the bend, in the clearing, lying right here, right in front of us, is sticking out the leopard. And she's licking herself like cats do. Anyone got a house cat here? And she's very alert. And she's looking up like this and she's looking around. And I can see from her ribs showing through her skin. She's hungry. It's early enough and it's cool enough in the morning. She gets up and she starts to hunt. Raise your hand if you've been to the Kruger area. Okay, quite a lot of you. That's good for Cape Town, actually. You know, in Johannesburg, when I ask that question, everyone puts their hand up. Okay, if you've been to Kruger, you've probably seen one or two of these, right? One or two. In the bushveld areas of southern and East Africa, the impala antelope is extremely common and is one of the favorite items on leopard's menu. Any idea what percentage of leopard's diet is impala? Any idea? Shout out. Yes.
100.
Not 100. Yes. 60, 70, 58%. In studies done, 58% of leopard's diet is impala. On this particular occasion, as Sticking Out the leopard gets up, she starts to walk straight away. From the tree line, maybe 30, 40 meters away, we hear, bah, 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 bah. And it's the alarm call of a group of impalas that had obviously seen the leopard and they ran away. But that's how it is. Even at the top of the food chain, you can never be complacent. Because the targets move, don't they? The goalposts shift, things change. Do things change in the Sanlam group? All the time. And the great thing about change is that with every change, there's opportunity. But with every opportunity, just like for these big cats, with every single new hunt comes a whole new set of totally different variables. And if you're not... Anyone know who Albert Hubbard was? Okay, don't worry, neither did I. Famous American statesman. This is what he said. People who want milk should not seat themselves on a stool in the middle of the field in the hope that the cows will back up to them. Sticking wasn't waiting around to be a victim. It's actually relatively low. And so it can afford to be very opportunistic, and it is. And it can hunt a variety of different species, from mammals the size of impala, down to other mammals like rodents and viverids, mongoose, porcupines, aardvarks, down to even small birds and reptiles. This is a leopard eating an African python. I once saw a leopard take a catfish out of the Sabi River. In sales language, that's called very good prospecting. And so the leopard can adapt to its conditions, and it can hunt according to the availability of prey right there. And that's everything there in the excavate. And as I finish this explanation, I hear puff, and a big puff of dust comes out of the opening of the termite mound, and the leopard runs up to the top of the termite mound, and she's sniffing around, she's looking inside. Her breakfast was inside. Kind of like the leopard's version of McDonald's drive-through. You know, the food's in there, it's at the window. You just got to wait at the window and it'll come out. And that's exactly what she did. But she ran to the far side of the termite mound. Why? Because there she was downwind. Whatever was inside wasn't going to be able to smell her. And there she lay. She crouched right down for 20 minutes. 20 minutes is quite a long time to watch the ear of a leopard occasionally twitch. And this French couple were getting a little restless. So I turn around as a good guide should, and I'm explaining how, you know, the behavioral ecology, like when your lunch runs away from you. But the key is to keep going. The key is not to give up. And so Sticking wasn't paralyzed by the change. She wasn't paralyzed by the impalas running away. She kept going, and we followed her. And she walks along the donga, and the donga came to an end where another small little rivulet came into it.